absolutely terrified to be in your world. Like, gonna rip off the wallpaper on the side of the wall because their mom is leaving them. They're just terrified. What do you have? An opportunity right then and there. Your job is to create a safe place and to let love come in and let the Holy Spirit rest. And it's all up to God after that, right? But your first job is to create this environment. I have recently I've just done a few trips and I've seen their nursery staff and I've taught this usually while I'm there. And while I'm there, they'll usually talk about their nursery, this and that. And all I have going through my head is I'm so thankful my kids are where they are. Because I just know that you guys are more than the Babysitters Club. So many other places look at it as the Babysitters Club. But I know that here you guys take it as a real job. That you're a pastor in this environment. And this is your little flock of kids. You know, they've all given their hearts to Jesus, and maybe they don't even know what that is, but they will eventually. But guess what? You guys sometimes get to be on the very front doorstep of that when they go, I want to let Jesus in my heart. You know how awesome that's going to be on DVD up in heaven? That, you know, who knows who these kids are? Who knows who these kids are? You could be with one of the next presidents of the United States. We have kids from all over the world, right? You could have one of the next prime ministers of Asia, of Guatemala, of Brazil, who knows? Do you guys ever think of it like that? What you have in your room is phenomenal. And are you doing a good job with it? So creating a safe place is one of the biggest things. Why do I keep doing that? That you can ever do with these kids. But I'm going to go through this kind of quickly. Something that often happens with being a grown-up, so to say, is we view power as, because I'm bigger than you, because I'm stronger than you, I'm more powerful than you. I get control of you. These are all big lies. There's a lie that says other people control me and I control other people. Have you ever seen a bully come through your classroom? That kid believes that they have control over other people. Have you ever seen a kid come through that is a victim in every single thing? It's because they believe the lie that other people control them. But the real truth is that you are in control of you. And again, you don't know who these kids are in your classrooms, but you have an opportunity to get rid of that lie. You have an opportunity to teach them what it really is to be a powerful person. I don't care if you only have them an hour every month. How you represent the Lord in self-control and teaching them how to be powerful could be the difference of their life. How many stories and testimonies start out with, I had this Sunday school teacher. If it wasn't for the Sunday school teacher, how many of those testimonies happen? Guess what? You all are the Sunday school teachers. So that encounter that you have with these kids, it makes a world of difference. And you have the opportunity to teach them that they're really powerful people. And so how that is demonstrated in your world really comes down to whether you look like this or not to them. Because just briefly as an adult, it's easy to look like this to a toddler. Hey, Miss Amy, are you having fun? What if I got closer? No? That's not fun? You don't think that's more fun? Well, guess what? That's almost instantly how you feel to a kid that's got any bit of insecurity. Is that big? That quickly. You know why they always suggest to get down low? Hey, how you doing? Way less intimidating. Way less intimidating. says, let me welcome you into where I'm at. I'm right here. So if they're little, you want to get little down with them. Hey, oh, I love your shoes. I was just it was in London. I went on a trip with my mom. So much fun. If you're friends with me on Facebook or Instagram, you saw all about it, but if not, I'm sorry. Anyway, so I'm in this subway thing. They call it something else there, but the tube. There you go. See? Not from there. Anyways, so I'm in the tube, and there's this little. I mean, I don't know that you could fit more people in this car, like whatever it is. I'm just like, oh my gosh. I literally am just about cheeked up against the window, plexiglass, which I'm thinking, that is absolutely disgusting. I don't even want to think about what might be on that window. So I'm like literally pushing into the person next to me. So there's a stop that happens a little more, a few people get off, and I'm like, oh. Then I realize that there's these two little girls that are standing next to me with their dad. And, you know, it's moving and you're rocking back and forth, and it's kind of like a roller coaster but standing up, and your hand goes on people's limbs and hair that are around you. And so we're rocking back and forth, and this little girl's kind of nervous and she's kind of scared, and the dad's trying to tend to the other one because the one that's nervous is older and the little one's really scared. And so I'm thinking, you know, she's scared because it's kind of scary because you're literally, I'm like, ab workout right now, here we go. That's totally what's happening. Anyways, so I had enough room at that point to slide down the wall, which again, I was doing another ab workout. And I got down really low and I started asking her questions. And I started off with, I like your shoes, they're so pretty. And I had on red shoes. I said, you've got pink shoes on, I have red shoes on. I said, but I don't have a strap like you. And she's kind of like, who's this creepy lady talking to me? And I said, have you ever been on one of these before? She goes, and the dad's standing right there, he seemed fine with it. And I said, me neither. I said, they're kind of crazy, huh? So by the end of between the next train stop, her and I are giggling. But what happened? I got down low, this girl that doesn't know me, who's super scared, she's with her dad, or at least looked like her dad. And all I did was do what I do best, which is invite the peace of the Holy Spirit. And all I did by that was, in my head, I'm going, Papa, give me something to talk about. And on my way down, sliding down a plexiglass full of germs, I noticed her shoes. And so, again, being aware of how your presence is around those kids will make the difference whether you have access to their hearts or not. Can you think about a teacher you may have had in high school or junior high or even elementary school that you were so turned off by? You're like, get me out of this class. You couldn't wait for the bell to ring. Does anybody have one of those? I had a few. Okay, and how about those teachers that inspired you? That you wanted to stay after class to ask them questions? That you knew were very interested in your life or what you had to talk about? They were engaged with you. Did you ever have any of those? Yeah. What's the difference? The difference usually comes down to that one has created a safe place and the other one hasn't. One holds on to intimidation as being their PowerPoint, and the other one says vulnerability is where I have access to your heart. So you guys have a great opportunity right now to leave this room, this meeting, and say, that lady was funny, but I'm good, this is just a job. Or you can take my challenge and say, no longer will this just be a little nursery job. But those kids are going to get so wrecked by being around me, they won't even know what hit them. Because I'm going to show them the peace of God, the safe place of the Holy Spirit, and they're going to have a vulnerable exposure to my heart, and we're going to grow together. I read something today. I'm creating this book of this guy's material, and he talked about teenagers, but I think it goes further, even deeper down below teenagers, even into young adolescents, that often always preaching at their kids and telling them what to do, you know, this and that, even down to read the Bible, you need to pray. But when parents don't model it, it's hard for kids to really fall in love with something. If it's just taught, but it's never modeled. And I was like, the same thing goes in all things, you know? And so you guys have, again, another great opportunity to model something. And that is to create a safe place. Some of the things that are so crucial in working with a team is creating a safe place with each other, right? Because if you're pissed off at your coworker, guess who's gonna feel it? Probably not even your coworker. It's gonna be those kids. Could be my kid. Could be Jen Johnson's kid. Could be the lady that got off the bus's kid. But you could be affecting very greatly somebody's child because you're not doing a very good job of staying connected with your teammate. As a team, I bring this up because you guys really are a team. You work together as a team. I was in this world for years, and I've done everything from being a teammate to a team leader to a team pastor, probably an overseer. I don't know what that was, but I did it all. And to not even in the nursery anymore, but helping Seth and Amy, and that was one of the funnest things I did, was getting to help those guys because they're just rock stars. But being aware of your team and staying connected is huge. That heart-to-heart connection that you have with each other as a team is just as important as the heart-to-heart connection you have with these kids. Because if your hearts are connected, there's a level of influence. And if I don't have any relationship with Amy, but I walk on in and I start correcting everything she's doing, how do you think she's going to receive that? Like, who are you? Whatever, I'll do whatever I want to. She'd totally be doing that too. Can't you just see Amy doing that? That would be me. Like, whatever. Can't make me do nothing. I don't usually hide too well what exactly I'm thinking, so. But, you know, really, you need to have a relationship with your people and investment. And the same thing goes down to the kids. If you've got a little one that's been very distant from you, they don't really want to engage, they're happy with just watching circle time, and they've been coming somewhat frequently, what are you doing to build that connection with them? Because they're seeing, you're communicating, or maybe communicating, that that connection isn't very, very valuable because they're only here for an hour. Well, they just don't want to. You know, they may not want to, but I bet you they probably do somewhere in there. Because kids love to be around people. They love to be a part of things. I find it very hard to believe that if you're laughing and playing and everyone's having a great time, that kid in the corner that's pouting really doesn't want to be a part of it. I find it very hard to believe they're happy. So it's your job to make sure, am I connecting with this kid? Am I investing? And that could look like, hey, how was your weekend? Did you do anything fun? Or they come in and they've got a new hat. Oh my gosh, that's the coolest hat ever. I love it. Hey, I saw you in the grocery store. You didn't see me, but I saw you. You were with your mom. I just wanted to let you know I saw you. Pulling them out and noticing those things, it just builds, especially because you guys have a unique situation. You don't have them for very long. You don't have much time to create this balm and like super glue or Gorilla glue or whatever it is that undoable that my husband has in the garage. You know, you've got small little touches. You've got small little touches. But are those little touches adding up to something bigger? Or are those little touches more like smudges? I was gonna get there. It was a crazy Sunday. I mean, everybody peed their pants. We had messes endlessly. I was gonna get there. So these little moments that you have, are they touches or are they smudges? The same thing goes with your team. If you guys get disconnected, it's going to be felt. And you need to learn how to invest in each other. And it could just be, I mean, you may never see each other except for your assigned schedule. But when you show up, do it well. Do it well. Show up wholeheartedly and completely engaged. Because it's not, anyone ever worked with someone that's not engaged? And you're just like, it's all right, I'll do your shift, just leave. Okay? I don't want to be near you. That's how it feels. Y'all may not be saying it, but I'm going to say it. So show up. Be present. It makes a world of difference for your room. If your room sucks and it's chaotic, I'm going to tell you why. It's because you aren't showing up. It's because you're slacking off. You'd rather sit down and be on your phone secretly because it's in your pocket, and you're somehow mindlessly texting without typos. I don't know how people do it. Or you had a fight or a breakup or you're stressed. That all shows up too. Like I said before, this is an amazing group of people. And I've seen you over and over again pull out the best in people. So when you're having a bad day, why don't you say, hey, having a bad day. Don't want to get it on y'all, but I need some backup. And you take care of it before those guys come in. Because you guys are powerful people. And I want you taking care of my kids. And everyone else's. But my kids. Okay? I swear, I've done this for different groups of people, and you really are, Amy does a phenomenal job of collecting the cream of the crop. So, stay connected. Stay invested. All right? These are some things just as being on a team I think are pretty important. I think they should be somewhat of your foundation in some sense in your classrooms. First one is love. Love's essential for creating safety and connection. You've got to have that element of love. You have to have, you are worth the investment to stay connected and make a safe place. Same goes with these kids. They got to feel the love when they come on in. That's why we act like Goofy at Disneyland. Hi, how are you? Oh my gosh, that's my favorite color. Like, you just said that to the other kid. That's because every color is my favorite color. You know, you are just creating this atmosphere. My 3-year-old goes, Mom, my favorite colors are all the colors. They're all my favorite colors. My favorite colors are all the colors. But are your favorite colors all the colors? Yes, they are. She goes, yeah, I like them too. I'm like, totally. I'm not going to say, well, I really just am partial to purple, but no way. Why? Because I'm creating safety and connection, and how I do that is through loving you. And does it matter if I don't favor all the other colors as much as I do purple? No. Why? Because I love you. That's what's important to me right now. Respect. Respect for each other's thoughts, feelings, and needs. That is, somebody's feeling could be how they feel in response to how you handle the situation. Could be how they feel as one of the kids feels hurt by somebody else. Not respecting or valuing that person's feeling because it's not how you're feeling, it's kind of like saying, you're not hungry because I'm not hungry. Isn't that a little bit ridiculous? But we do that over and over and over again to kids. Just get over it. He didn't mean it, okay? It's going to be fine. I'm saying that your feelings don't really matter. You're not hungry because I'm not hungry. Same thing goes with your teammates. If they feel that your approach to that kid was too harsh, maybe embarrassing because of the timing of it, and they approach you, you're like, no, it was fine. What are you doing? You're not respecting how it is that they feel. Even if you completely think that you didn't do it wrong, if you, in your head, have complete confidence that you handled it right, how you approach that is, I'm sorry, that was never my agenda or what I was going for. I didn't mean to make you feel that way. That is how you handle something instead of going, no, that's not, it wasn't a problem. Because that means you're just crediting exactly what it is that they're feeling, but you are not them. Just in case you were wondering. You are you. Alright? Self-control. Self-control is a big one. It's much more than keeping us from doing stupid things, okay? Or eating that extra donut or croissant if you're in France. It was worth it. But anyways, self-control, I am in complete control of me. I'm able to respond to you manifesting crazy instead of react to it. I'm doing a good job of taking care of myself. Whether that's communicating clearly what I need or setting really good boundaries with you. And in our world, it's a good thing to set boundaries. So kids bite, pinch, wrestle, trample, punch, all those things. We get to set boundaries with them. We don't have to endure. But how you do that is really important to do it well. If you need help, you find some of the masters. Amy's one of those. And most of these people on the front row, I know, and there's some out scattered there. Go find them. I'm not going to name names because that'll just be messy. Anyways, so doing a good job of taking care of yourself. Responsibility. That really comes down to how you approach your job. Remember I talked about if you're having a bad day, not rubbing it on everyone else. Just think of it like you had a bad day, so you decided to roll a dog poop and then walk into the room and think nobody's going to notice. I'm going to guess they are. So you need to take care of that stuff before you get in there. And if you can't shake it, that's when you say, I need help. Because I don't want this to stay, and I'm pretty sure you don't either. Okay? So being responsible, and you know, I know a lot of you, or some of you probably get the lessons. What's the difference in your world when you get the lesson a week before Sunday and you look at it the night before Sunday? How does that show up in your classroom? I could tell you. One, because I've done it myself. Confession. Okay, confess your own sins. That's what I just did. I have done that where you don't look at the lesson because I was gonna get there. Life's crazy. But you know what? You're really just cheating the kids. It could mean that you got, you know, a whole nother episode of Say Yes to the Dress in there. But those little guys aren't gonna get what was meant for that lesson. So you're ripping them off. So take responsibility for your classroom and what you've been asked to do. Because in some sense, this is the best job you could ever have. You are shaping tomorrow's leaders. Remember, you're that Sunday school teacher? That testimony that comes, that kid that showed up on the weekly with grandma from the mission, from the bus, who's now some crazy next Chris Overstreet 20 years down the road. It was all because I was in the Firefly classroom, the Dragonfly classroom. I remember Grandma would take me when I was 2 years old, and they taught me that I could get rid of fear. And I never feared about anything ever again. Wouldn't that be phenomenal? If a child that lives in what should be consumed by fear is taught at 2, guess what? I'm pretty dang powerful. And who do they learn that from? You guys. Okay? Truth. I love this one because I love being vulnerable with kids because they do it right back to you. You show them your heart and they're going to do the same thing. But guess what? They need someone to lead them there. And that's you guys. So whether it's they're having bad dreams or you're just talking about a memory verse, and you guys can talk about an experience that you had when you were reading this, showing them vulnerability, opening yourself up, you're going to see really good breakthrough through that. Faith. You know, these kids should be the target of you being filled up from Papa. They should not be your source. You need to come in filled up and aiming your cannons at these kids. Your bazookas. Ready, go. Boom! Ha 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 ha, right? That's what this should be. You gotta come in ready to go. And vision, I talked about earlier, you know, knowing what it is that you're doing, knowing what the goal is, because the vision is the point in the distance that's gonna bring you through the chaos. And that looks like, I bet you, the bumblebees and the butterflies could tell you what chaos looks like. Right? See? That's when everybody's got a poopy diaper and somebody's got snot bubbles and now there's vomit on the floor. Right? But what's my vision? My vision says somebody's going to get healed. My vision is there's going to be restoration in the family. My vision is that these kids are going to be unstoppable. But if you don't have that vision, this moment's going to suck. Really bad. And I may not recover. I'm just saying it how it is. We're recording. Hopefully they can handle that. Oops. But that's the truth. If you can't figure out what the vision is for you working in this world, you're probably pretty darn miserable. So I'd figure out what that vision is, because it's pretty crucial. It really is. All right. Oh, I need sound on. Is that possible?
Yeah.
All right. We were going to kind of take an intermission anyways for Seth because he wanted to record this. So for all you camp people out there that I've been talking to through here, hopefully you can see my head because it seems really high. But anyways, this next part is all about the tools and how to apply them. This first part was more about the heart. Enjoy. Okay. That was my infomercial. You just saw right there. Let me know when you're ready. I'm making them, of course, I'm at work. Not work hard. Are we good?
Yeah.
Okay. Oh, we skipped it. Okay, now I know what's coming. So, we just talked all about team, right? And the difference, so this is just a fun illustration, obviously, of what it can look like if you're not on the same page. And of course, it's in child form because that's what you do. You work with children, right? And this could actually happen in your classroom if you got on this topic.
Spinach, carrots, greens, that's what I said, carrots. And those can be healthy and strong. And spinach. I said spinach. I said Spanish. Spanish. No, that's not Spanish. It's como estas. Hakuna Matata. That's not Spanish. We're doing business here.
We doing business here. Okay, you guys are doing business here, all right? So again, we're going to talk about the tools. I kind of went through the heart of this, and the reason why I've shared with you just in what I did is because that's what I've picked up from working in the nursery. Those are the things that I found really important, the things that I feel, need to be highlighted, the things that sometimes can be forgotten. I mean, how many of you worked in the nursery for the last year? Okay, 2 years. All right. We won't get into that. You guys have been around long enough. But the reality is that, every Sunday can start to feel like this routine thing. And you lose sight of what it is that you're doing. Except for, I'm going to get a paycheck at the end of this. It's going to be all right. I know I'm going to leave with crackers and snot, but I'm going to get paid. And, so the heart of all of that prior is just really important to me because the fact that it's what I found that I needed to remember when I worked in this nursery. It's what I found that I needed reminders in when I was there. It's what I found myself frustrated with. So that's why I was poking at you guys. It's not because I don't like you. It's because it's what I needed when I was there. All right? So now we're going to get to the tools, which the tools are really my fun and favorite part because I just really like them. I don't know if anyone in here has actually worked with me in the Firefly class from years ago. No, I think we've traced them all out. It's okay. Christine, you might be the only one that was an Amy. You guys probably were here close to when I was working on it. Were you around? Okay, Amy was. But, so in my classroom, I had the Firefly classroom, and my main rule was there's no chaos in my classroom. And so these tools are what helped that. I mean, my team we were on it when it came to the tools because I was really big on I always say there's a difference between energy and chaos. And one of them is fun and the other one is no fun. Okay? So when Brittney's no fun face comes out, we need to adjust. So, and I really don't want you, those of you that are the newbies, when you see these kids running in the classroom or running outside, I don't want your face to look like this. Okay? They're coming! Retreat! Higher ground! No. I want you to be excited about these kids coming in and not terrified. I want you to feel like you have some practical tools to make you feel like a powerful individual, because it's amazing how a 2-year-old can rob you of all your power. How did you do that? Did Mr. Miyagi train you? Wax on, wax off. Like, this 2-year-old is smart. You know? So, one thing that I've discovered in my years of doing this is there's a few things that these kids do that just kind of mess with your button. You know, everyone has a big red button. Big red button. Okay? And they like to try and push this big red button. Even though it clearly states not to push it. It says don't go anywhere near it. But they go and they push it. And you start swinging punches. And you're like, I didn't mean to hit that 2-year-old. I really didn't mean to. I don't know what just happened. He was right here, and now he's in the parking lot, and I don't know how the window got broken. I just don't know. But how they do that is through these little things. Some of them, these are just the ones that always drove me nuts. Disrespect. How many of you like that one? That's a favorite right there. How about lying? I always like when I'm like, did you take that graham cracker? What's in your mouth? Air. Right. I'm sure there's air in your mouth. You know, or there's blue marker all over the wall. Did you color with blue marker all over the wall? No. Then what's all over your hand? Angel dust. Nice try. Nice try. Name calling. I always love it when kids are like, I really love when they create clicks. They're 4 years old and they're creating clicks. I'm like, really? We're already there? You can't hang out with us because you don't have a dress on. I'm about to make her a dress out of tissues. Seriously. What is with this age of children starting younger and younger? So, you know, these are just things that would get me riled to where I start to lose that thing called self-control. And I'm going to be a bad example. You won't want me as a big sister, that's for sure. So, what are you going to do? Does anyone have anything they can think of that just drives you crazy in your classroom? No? I'm talking to the perfect group. I knew it. You guys are just flawless. Way to go, Amy. You did it. You found the flawless ones. Except for I know some of you, so it's all right. So, yeah, those things, they start to drive you nuts. And it really, everyone's different. Obviously, I'm a little bit louder personality and stronger, intense person. And, you know, and Amy over here, not quite as loud or intense as I am. So I'm going to say it, she's going to probably think it, right? That'd be the difference. I might take a swing and she might be like, next time, you'll be sorry. But what happens in our heart? The same thing. That's the difference. Because right then and there is where the adjustment usually is drastically made. And if I don't have some tools to change that, every time this little kid gets around me, I'm like, you're getting 3 less goldfish, buddy. Talk back to me. Yeah, I took a bite of your graham cracker. I'm just saying. I'm losing you, I'm sorry. Maybe some of you have done it because you're laughing pretty hard. I am saying the difference is I have done where I've gotten frustrated at a kid because they're just a pain when they come in my classroom. They're wild, they're crazy, they get all the rest of the kids going nuts, and I just want them out. I don't care. Jesus is not in my heart right now, and I want you out, is how I feel. And so I'm not doing a very good job of taking care of myself. I'm not operating like a powerful person because I'm forgetting something very valuable, which are these tools I'm going to give you. Unless we run out of time, then I'm just going to leave. Just joking. So, these tools, they are more than just this automatic switch that you flip on in your brain. They really are to help your heart stay in a place of keeping your love on, not to be cheesy, but I know someone that's on a book. But also almost a sense of neutral. Like, I am not going to disengage my heart because you're driving me crazy. As a mom, this is what happens often is you have to learn how to, I'm not going to disconnect from you because you've asked me for a snack one more time. I've asked you to get your shoes on one more time. What am I going to do with my heart? And these kids, obviously you're going to have ones that are just dear to your heart. They just connect with you in a different way. I'm not saying you can't have those special kids because it's just what happens. Like, why do you have a BFF? Because you fit together. You know? God said, hey, you're going to really like this person. You guys should get and hang out. You know? And the same thing goes with these kids. Some of these kids just, they're like your mini-me, or they're like your sibling. They remind you of someone, or something like that. But then there's these boys, or these girls that are the whining ones, the ones that are climbing on everything. How are you doing with them? How are you doing with your heart when it comes to those kids? So these tools are for those kids so that you don't start to punish them for being who they are. Because sometimes that's what will happen. Is you forget how to use these tools, and so you disengage. And just assume some other teacher's going to deal with it. I'm so glad Jesus doesn't operate that way. And the angels will get to them. Yeah, no. He's got time for all of us. Alright? So some of these tools are one-liners. And I think that for the sake of the video, we should probably just say them all together. Ready? I know, probably so. That could be. I don't know. Nice try. Aren't those awesome? And what those things are created for is so that you never have to argue with a child again. Isn't that an amazing thing? Right? You're welcome. You're so welcome. My email address is, that's where you can send checks to. PayPal account is, no, just, you know, really, I couldn't even count. I couldn't count in a day how many times I say these. I couldn't. And they're not even to my kids. It's just in life. Really, I mean, I have countless stories of saying these to no fun adults. I have a really funny one. It was not so funny, but it's kind of funny. Now it's funny. Now it's funny. It wasn't funny then. Now it's funny. Anyways, so these tools, really is so that I don't have to argue with you. Because I'm choosing us. I'm choosing our connection. I'm choosing our relationship. So I'm not going to engage in an argument. And the difference between an argument and a disagreement is your goal. An argument, I'm trying to prove you wrong and that I'm right. A disagreement is I'm trying to find common ground, but really my goal is to understand. It's not to convince you. My goal is to understand. Because the goal of communication is to understand, not to convince. An argument, my goal is to prove you wrong usually. So if you start to engage in an argument about whether or not it's okay to throw rocks or not, okay, is it okay to throw rocks? No, but is it worth arguing over and over again with the 5-year-old why it's not okay to throw rocks? No, because do they really care what you think? No, they don't. Even if you have profound wisdom as to personal experience why throwing rocks is not a good idea, they don't care. So instead of introducing disrespect into our relationship that I already only have so much invested because I only see you so often, I'm going to go, I know, but I didn't throw them at that person, probably so. Well, that's dumb. Why can't I just throw the rock? I don't know. You know, I know, probably so. That could be, I don't know, nice try. You can say that for a really long time. And some kids, they need an explanation. They need to know why they cannot draw on the table. Like, it looks like it should be fine. But you know what? In that moment, they're not able to actually hear why. So I would do I don't know, probably so. We'll go through some other ones. That could be, feel free to hang out with, or feel free to have some crayons as soon as you can choose paper. But that's dumb. My mom lets me do it. I know. Feel free to have the crayons as soon as you can draw on the paper. I don't like you. Probably so. You're so dumb. Nice try. If you know a child really actually needs to know the answer to why it's not okay, have that conversation, but not right then. Because their goal is not to understand at this moment. It's to argue, and it's to prove you wrong. So you can revisit that topic once they've calmed down. Say, hey, do you want to talk about why we can't draw on the table now? Oh! All right, we'll come back to it later. Because again, some kids need to know the answer. You're probably thinking of them now. They need to logically understand why you possibly could say no. Again, not right then. When they're at a calmer state of mind and their goal is to understand, that's when you can approach it. All right? These are some key phrases that we're going to talk about. Oh no. Oh no just means, I am so sad for you, but I know you're a genius and you're going to figure this out. So when they knock over their snack on the floor, and you go, oh, what does that communicate? Frustration, disappointment, irritation. If, you know, in all honesty, if they're my own kid, that noise is mom's upset. So the phrase, oh no, to be replaced instead of the grunting noise. Snack hits the floor, you go, oh no. It's followed up really well with what are you going to do? What are you going to do just helps them identify whose problem it is. What are you going to do? There's a clue in there, in case you didn't catch it. That word you is helping them identify. Because it's easy to go, ugh, I told you to move your snack, now it fell all over the floor. When I put it over there, it was for a reason. I didn't want it at the edge of the table. Now there's a mess on the floor. How easy is it to do that? Especially if you've moved the snack 4 times prior to this moment. Right? But your job is to take care of yourself. That whole self-control thing. And also create a safe place. So that's where you would apply, oh no, what are you going to do? And most kids haven't heard this. They're like, I have no idea. Or like, this is normally where the angry parent makes lots of noises and they clean it up and they're mad and then I sit down and wait for them to be done and then I eat again. But you are teaching these kids how to think for themselves. And it's not a bad thing. I'll tell you a secret. They have a brain. I know, right? Sometimes we forget that. So this phrase, oh no, what are you going to do? You're helping these little guys use that brain. What am I going to do? And they might just look at it. Some of them might just cry. And you go, oh no, what are you going to do? Did you get all that? Something along the line, my snack's on the floor and I'm really sad. Yeah. And this is where you can say, I have some ideas if you'd like to hear them. Well, would you like to clean it up? Would you like me to help you clean it up? Oh, that was help. Good. So here, let's do it together. In most classrooms, you've got more than just one person that's going to help. You've got half a table full of children that are like climbing on top of each other, trying to help find every last goldfish that may have possibly been underneath the desk. It's like a search and rescue. Nemo, where are you? Just joking. So, oh no, what are you going to do? You have a great opportunity, you really do, because some of these kids never know what it feels like to be empowered. Some of these kids are taught that they're mindless people that are an inconvenience to me. And it's not usually on purpose that that's how they're taught, but it's just something that happens. So I love that you guys are like the secret undercover agents going in to teach these kids that they're geniuses. And one of my favorite stories that I had was, I was a nanny for 3 years, and I had these girls in the school year. It was a total of like 3 hours a day. And, I had them for about 45 minutes to half an hour in the morning, took them to school, and then I picked them up and had them for another chunk of time after that. But I used all these things with the girls. There was a single dad, so I did a lot of, oh no, what are you going to do? Oh, I know, probably so, that could be, I did all of this. And I remember the dad came up to me and he said, I need to talk to you about what you're doing with my girls. And I thought I was getting fired. I was 16 at the time, thinking, we've only been late like 3 times. Yes, sometimes Shannon has like 2 snacks after school. I know she's only supposed to have 1, but she's like starving. He's like, no. He's like, I don't care about any of that. He's like, what are you doing with my kids? Because they listen to you. They like you more than they like me. And I have these kids for 3 hours a day, like 5 days a week. More than you. But the difference was that in my presence, they had consistency, and they were empowered like they've never been before. And that's what you guys can be doing with your kids, is empowering them. That's what I'm all about. That's what I love about these tools, is really empowering your kids to think. All right? Another one is no problem. Personal favorite. No problem for me. Possible problem coming up for you. See, I think you guys like this one too. And no problem simply means that. No problem for me, possible problem coming up for you. And that looks like, say Johnny's on the playground and he's chucking rocks. And all the staff cars are parked right out there and you're thinking, this is not going to be good. And so Johnny picks up a rock and chucks it. Hey, Johnny, that's no fun. We don't throw rocks, okay? I need you to come on over here now. What does Johnny do? He may be pretending that that really beautiful Honda Pilot out there is Goliath, but guess what? It's really my car. And he's thinking, oh, you're going down. And you're yelling, Johnny, that's no fun. Usually you should be moving at this point, closer to him. But in case you're not, and when he chucks in, praise God, there's angels around my car. He doesn't hit it, but you go, oh, buddy, no problem. What does that mean? No problem for me. Possible problem coming up for you. Hey, oh, no problem. Bummer, buddy. Okay, we're going to have to come inside now. No, I won't never throw the rock again. It was Goliath. I just won't do it. I promise. I'll be good. I know. No, please don't. Do you want to walk or do you need some help? I don't want to go inside. I want to play. Probably so. So I'm helping Johnny back inside, and I say, hey, have a seat. I'm imagining he's somewhere around 5-ish, 4 or 5. Okay. And I say, hey, as soon as I feel like a genius for letting you play outside, you can go on out. Why? I told you I won't ever do it again. Won't ever do it again. I know. I need to feel like a genius for letting you be outside. I'm really sorry. Oh, this is not fair. I know. I'm going to tell my mom that you would let me outside. Probably so. If I were you, buddy, I'd come up with a plan. Why I'd be a smart teacher for letting you outside. Sometimes genius, they don't understand what you're saying, so smart teacher might be a good word. And I am all for letting those 4 or 5-year-olds think. Because they, again, have a brain. Just spread the word, okay? So this little guy is going to have to convince you of why you would be smart to let him outside when he's not listening to you about taking good care of people's cars, essentially, right? So, I mean, I would let him handle this because the difference of ownership is if I leave you with your problem or if I take it away. Because if I take away your problem, you're not going to have ownership of it, right? But if I give it to you, and I'm pretty sure that a 5-year-old can handle and work out, why is it not such a great idea to throw rocks? What are the variables that could happen besides my enjoyment of it? You know? So this little guy has got to work out within himself how long he's going to sit in this chair. Some kids are geniuses and they pop up, they're like, okay, so why is throwing rocks not a good idea? Because it could permanently damage someone's head and someone's car. And you're like, you're right. So why would I be a smart teacher for letting you go outside? If I didn't go on the rocks. Well, the whole playground is made out of rocks, buddy. How are we going to do that one? If I didn't go past this swing set, or whatever it is, the barrier. I mean, I would let these guys work for it. Because they know. And some kids are going to be like, am I breathing? I can't figure out if anything's working. You know, they're just stuck. So I would come and check on them. Like, how you doing? I have some ideas if you want to hear them. They might need some help. And you are there to help. You really are. But you're not there to do it for them. That's the difference. Okay? Remember the whole ownership piece? You want to let them keep having it. Another one is fun to be with. Fun or no fun, sometimes you break it up differently. And all it means is to be around me, I require that you're fun. And like the whole no chaos in my room, there was no screaming, no spitting, no biting, no punching. All those things were no fun for me. So if you did those things, you were in a no fun chair, you were not in my classroom. But it was completely up to you whether you stopped or not. Because I can't make you do anything. Most adults think that they can make smaller children do something. You cannot. Can you keep a kid from spitting? Good luck. Have fun with that one. Can you keep a kid from trying to kick you? Good luck. You have absolutely no control of what this kid does. And what you do have control of is how you handle yourself and how you stay connected. That's what you got to go on. So fun or room, there's lots of fun or chair, probably in the bumblebees. Sometimes they need more help because they don't realize that they're supposed to still be sitting in the chair and they're like wandering. Like, oh, that chair? Oh, gotcha. I forgot. Short-term memory loss. Or it's like 2-second attention span. I remember, I don't know what stories I have up here. What else? Oh, choices. Giving choices. Throughout this whole process and everything that you're doing, getting to the chair, the no fun chair, there should be lots of choices. You need to offer 2 choices. Either choice should make you deliriously happy. Because if one choice does not make you deliriously happy, guess what one they're going to be picking? The one that does not make you happy. Why? Because they know it somehow. And they're like, oh, watch this. You should have done a better job picking those choices. Exactly. It's totally what they do. And you stick with those 2 choices, and it's pretty quick. Do you want to, gotta go sit in the no fun chair, buddy? You want this chair or this chair? I don't want a chair. You choose or I choose? No problem. You pick this one. So you are empowering them every step of the way to make these choices. It is completely up to them. Until they don't want to choose, you're like, no problem. You choose or I choose. A lot of kids that are the debaters or the future lawyers are going to go, how about option C? Because, you said A or B, I'm going with C. And some kids are really great at coming up with a choice, and you're like, I wish I would have thought of that one. The hard part with giving into that choice is they're going to be good at doing it every single time. And so you're going to lose that, you choose or I choose. It's going to turn into, I'm in charge. So I encourage you to say, that's a great choice. Maybe we can do that another time. But right now, these 2 choices. You choose or I choose. And it was a really great choice for, maybe it was the order of what game you're going to play, but you gave these 2 choices and they say that one. Sometimes it doesn't really matter. Sometimes it does. But I would say that was a great option, but we're going to go with these 2. A or B. You choose or I choose. Lots of choices. If you're not used to giving choices, let me tell you, this is where you're going to get stumped. You're going to get into a situation, you're going to be like, you want to do what I say? Or you want to do what I say? A little bit different. If you're not careful, that's what's going to happen. So that's why practice, 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 practice. How many of you have a roommate or live with somebody or something like that? I always tell you, offer to make your roommate's dinner and say, do you want chicken or beef? And they're going to be like, chicken. Do you want barbecue or in the oven? Barbecue. Do you want asparagus or Brussels sprouts? And they're going to be like, what is wrong with you? Let's go asparagus. Do you want water or milk to drink? You're scaring me. And they're going to go, I want chocolate milk. You want water or milk? You choose or I choose. And you're really going to freak out. But your goal is making choices, because that's where most parents that do this over and over and over and over again are stuck. I don't know how many times I've had people go, can I text you when I need a choice? No. You need to practice, because I'm not a call center. So I tell them, practice the simple things, like, do you want a blue crayon or a red crayon? Do you want to sit in this chair or this chair? Do you want this snack or this snack? Even though they're exactly the same, does not matter. There is empowerment happening, and they're like, yeah, baby, that's what I like to hear. Because kids are control freaks, especially toddlers. They're like, give it to me, no, it's mine. Now, no, yes, now, mine, no, because I can say it, you know? So giving them choices whenever possible, they're gonna gain something with you, and that is, when I'm around you, I feel awesome, because I feel powerful. I like this. So when it gets down to something not so fun, like, hey buddy, do you think hitting people with a truck is fun or not so fun? They're like, oh, there's a choice again. And they're gonna go through this process of, around you I feel pretty awesome, and I think I might be in trouble right now, but I still kind of feel awesome. Not a good idea. Do you think that hurt them or made them really happy? Made them really happy. Oh, so do you cry and bleed when you're really happy? No. So do you think it made them happy or sad? Oh, sad. Okay. So do you think you have a mess to clean up, or do you think they're okay? I think they're good. Really? Well, I think that they might need some more than that. So when you're ready to clean up that mess, you let me know, but have his feet in this chair until you're ready. So here I am, completely empowering you to clean up your mess whenever you're ready. But we're family in this room, and so when we make messes, we clean them up. Some kids don't like that. But again, when I give lots of choices back and forth, and I have to get to a hard one, but I feel really great around you, it's going to be a little bit easier to hear what you have to say, because I like you. Feel awesome. Those choices make a big difference. Down to the little things. I mean, really, the little things. Snack. Do you want all goldfish or all graham crackers or both? You know, you could even throw that in there like, oh, I've never had so many options. You know? This is way better than In-N-Out. In-N-Out's got 3 options. That's why I think they get through the line so fast. Everyone's like, I want 2. Yeah, 1, 2, or 3. That's all you had to begin with. Anyways. So, choices. Really great thing, okay? These are just some choice samples, but, you know, red pen, blue pen. You want to clean up your mess before, after snacks. That doesn't always work, especially if you need the mess cleaned up right away, but it could be like, I have a snack for you as soon as the mess is cleaned up. Take your time. When you say take your time to a kid, they're like, panic. Take my time? How long is this going to take? Crazy lady, I'm only in here for an hour and a half. Okay, so, and doing these things, you're communicating what you're going to do. And it's totally up to them what they do. All right? These are some of the stories I have, but do you want me to do Q&A? Would you rather me do that than... Yeah? Okay. We will need the other mic. He's got it ready. So these are just some stories that happened in the nursery. Well, I'll tell one of them really quickly, though, is I had a little guy that came into our world, and, you know, he was a full-on kid. We'd have great Sundays where the Holy Spirit would come, and he'd be like, Jesus loves you. And then the other Sundays, he's like, boom, boom. We're like, oh, okay, what's happening? You know, and so we had more consistent beating up Sundays than the Holy Spirit came Sundays. So I said, hey, Jared, you know, we got to call a time out. I said, I don't feel like such a smart teacher for having you in my classroom right now, because every time you're in my classroom, it's really no fun for me. And I love when you're in my classroom, and I love that you love Jesus so much. But right now, it's no fun for me. So I need a plan from you of why I'd be a smart teacher for letting you be in my class. So feel free to come back in my class as soon as you have a plan of being nice to my friends. He didn't come to Sunday school for 2 weeks. I know, it was horrible, right? I kicked the kid out of Sunday school. But guess what? I communicated all this with his parents. And I got down really low with Jared when I said, I love you. You are amazing. And I'm really sad for how you're treating my friends. And you have a really kind heart. And I need to see Jared's really kind heart before you're able to come back in my class. So when you have a plan of how you're going to do that, you can come back. And I'm pretty sure his parents weren't really sure what to do with me. But I had my covering, so I was good. 2 Sundays later, Jared came in with this folded up 19 times piece of paper that didn't really make a whole lot of sense, but because he was mostly just learning how to write letters. But I talked to him about it. I said, so how is Jared going to protect my friends? And he came up with a system about because he would just get flustered over somebody doing something was more of an injustice thing, or overwhelmed by people touching his stuff or whatever. And so he came up with, he would go to the bathroom and count to 10 and come out, and if he still wasn't okay, he'd go back in the bathroom. And he did it. Because he made up his own plan, he followed through with it. And there was only a few times where I had to say, hey buddy, you seem like you might be having a hard time, because he just started getting really angry, and he would go off. The difference is he had ownership of that problem. And my approach to him was that I want you in here. I believe in you, but there is a boundary and there is a requirement to be in here. And I mean, he was only in my class when I was in 1 year, but he did great with me. He did. But that was probably one of the only times I kicked out a kid that intensely. But yeah, it was good. So, is there any questions as far as anything that I've covered, or situation that you have, or any of that fun stuff? Stand up. I just can't. Whatever. It looks on.
That's exciting. Oh,
there you are.
There we go. What do you do when you are empowering a kid to be a genius and make awesome choices, and they're like, I'm just stupid, I'm dumb?
I would just say that would be a bummer if that were true.
Yeah.
That's not true. This is just another tactic of getting attention and getting out of having to be responsible for the problem. So I would just say that would be a bummer if that were true, because Jesus only makes really smart people. Well, I don't know, I'm just so dumb, I can't think. Well, I would ask Jesus to help you then. And I wouldn't feed into the woe is me self-pity thing. And then I would just encourage them with little pieces like that. And you could even say, would you like me to help you pray and see what Jesus has to say? Because he's really smart too. And he loves to help us. So that would be as much as I would feed into it. And if they still don't want to, then I would just say, well, let me know when you've got a plan. Well, I can't. Probably so. One thing I didn't cover that I needed to is, in your one-liners, in all these key phrases, you have to be really careful of sarcasm, because it's easy to go into sarcasm because it just, especially if you've done them for a while, or if you're frustrated, sarcasm can come out. But sarcasm is just candy-coated disrespect. So it is very quickly picked up on by kids. And if you introduce sarcasm, then you say, fair game to disrespect. And they're going to see these tools as a bitter weapon rather than a tool for us to stay connected. That's what happens with sarcasm. So, sure.
what do you do when you have an older kid who needs to go to a no fun location? And what's a good choice to give them when you don't want to be with a 2-year-old? You can say, do you want to walk by yourself, or do you need me to help you? When they get bigger, you want to be picking up a very heavy, large child.
Right.
So what's a good choice? I mean, you've given do you want to sit in this chair? Like, you've empowered as much as you can, and now they're not going there.
If they're completely just refusing to listen to you, they will not go to the chair, and you've done everything that you possibly could do. At that point, I mean, you're at the next step of taking them, but you're not gonna probably do that. So it would be like, buddy, you can sit in a chair, or we can call your parents. So it's up to you. And if I call your parents, then you're not gonna be able to come back to class. If that's what they're going for, then you're gonna have a conversation with probably Amy, your team pastor, and the parents as to what they would like done. If that's like their tactics to get out of there, is being completely defiant. So you might have to rearrange it a little bit to get what's needed in that moment. But if it's completely just because they don't care, they don't want to be there, or they're just not being very fun, I would say you can have a seat in the chair, or you can call mom and you can go home for the day. But yeah, the older kids you aren't going to pick up or move. Some kids you can say, do you want my help? And all it takes is a little bit of, and that's kind of helping them by just getting them that direction. But there's others that will literally require that you pick them up, and that's not probably what you're going to be doing. Does that help?
Okay, so I work with bumblebees, and this is kind of a situational deal. But there's some times where I just don't quite know what to do when, let's say there's an incident where one kid has disrespected, whether it's hitting, throwing, whatever, taking a toy from, and I'm trying to help them reestablish that connection with the other kid, and just explaining how it's not safe, it's no fun. And one kid totally gets it. So the victim totally gets it. They know no fun. They express to me, hey, they just hit me. And the other kid totally doesn't. They have no grid for it. And the one who gets it is looking at me like, what are we gonna do about this? And the other kid is just already off and gone and taken off. And I try to explain, hey, that's no fun. Can you say sorry? And they just leave again, and stuff like that. So how a good, yeah.
Well, you are in the land of learning how to do social skills, right?
Yeah.
What do you mean you don't like that? This is so much fun for me, though. Lincoln's 1, and it's just going to increase into, he feels so much power by pulling his sister's hair, because there's a massive reaction that he's like, look at this! Look at this! And it's just, they're in this world of learning this. And so kids that aren't required, usually probably the first child that has, no grid, because I'm the only one on the planet of that there's anything required of me. And it could be either a really sensitive firstborn child or one that's got older siblings. Like, I know how this goes. I'm entitled to something, and it's an apology. I am owed something. Give it up. So in that moment, again, they are learning. So you do your best of, hey, that's no fun, and maybe you might have to get more one-on-one with the, whatever the word is I'm looking for right now. Not the victim, but the accuser. Is that right? The perpetrator. That's horrible. I heard that and said it, I'm like, wrong. The aggressive one. You might have to get more one-on-one with them and say, hey, let's be gentle, because they could be just freshly too and figuring out what the word gentle means. But then you've got a great opportunity with the one that's like, hey, they're supposed to say sorry, and that you could walk them through like, I'm so sorry he hit you. That was no fun. But we should forgive him, huh? So you've got the opportunity of teaching forgiveness even when no one says I'm sorry. Because that's a lesson we have to keep on learning. So that could be the approach that you take with that one when the aggressive one, it's is not going to be able to clean up the mess, so to say, to the standard that's really wanted. Does that help?
Yes. Thank you. Thank you.
Okay.
Any more questions?
What do you do when, say, you have a 2-year-old?
I was going to say personal questions cost $5. Just joking.
And you're not sure if when they clean up their mess and say sorry, if they get it or they realize that that's a means to an end. How do you...
I would ask questions then. So I would be like, you know, how do you think that makes brother feel when you hit him? Happy or sad? Sad. How do you think it makes mommy feel when you hit brother? You know, because you could include yourself in that, because you are like, brother is now just there and I tolerate him. You are a necessity in my life. I can't get rid of you. So sometimes I have found that communicating how it affects me, because there's a closer bond there, they're more affected by that conversation because they have greater value for it. I don't know if that's brothers, sisters, what you're talking about, but, or say they, you know, took a beautiful permanent marker to your couch and you're like, hey, that's no fun. What, you know, how are they going to clean that mess up, so to say? How are they going to fulfill the need of, oh my gosh, to replace that costs $400, but you're not going to be able to do that. And them saying sorry, they've gotten into this routine. I would just teach them that whole opening yourself up to vulnerability of how much that hurt mommy's heart, and how sad you are. And, you know, what are some ideas we can do to fix it? Even if you know that wiping the couch won't actually fix the problem, but they're taking more ownership in how they can help solve the problem that they created or the mess that they created. Even if you know it's like, you know, not going to fix it, but them having a little bit more ownership in it helps put a bigger grasp on what sorry really is. But that, I don't know what the situation really is, but
It wasn't a specific situation, just a way to get out of it.
yeah, I would just ask lots of questions to it. Why would mommy feel like a smart mommy for letting you stay around me and brother, or you being out of your room? Because I'm not going to do it again. I don't believe that you're not going to do it again because you've already done it twice when mommy asked you not to. So that could just be that mommy needs some time alone, so I'll come get you when I'm ready. And that's what I've done before, especially with Delaney, because the girl took me to the vet. I'm pretty sure the gray hair that I do have is from her, but that's okay. And it just was that I needed some time because I was probably going to be no fun to her, and it was just, I needed a little bit more time for a mommy break, so she would go in her room, or I'll come talk to you in a minute.
Would you say in the classroom that if you've had that situation where a child has just full-on like worked you over, that it would be a good choice to follow through to the very end, or to have somebody else take over if you're feeling like you're not at your best?
At your best. I guess it just depends on the severity of where you're at, because I always recommend that if you start it, you should finish it, because there's a disconnect of your heart, and there should always be a reconnect. That's why I'm so big on it. But maybe you could go on with the buddy system, because like I know when I'm done with one of my kids and I'm like, tag team, you're it, and I'm ditching you, you know, and I send Ben in, I still have to follow through with the other part of it, because he might come in and do some of the talking because I'm done, but I still have to go back in and reconnect, because that is my job. So maybe that could be what you do balance is you're all done, you need a break so a team member can come in, but you still have to re-enter the picture to create that kind of the completing the trust cycle, just reconnecting again with them.
Thank you.
Okay, so I work in the 5-year-olds room, and I've been seeing, we do a lot of coloring, of course, and I've been seeing with the girls that there's one girl who's doing a picture and she's trying really hard, and you know, they all want to be individuals, and of course it comes out, they copied me, and I've been helping them through that, sometimes copying is a good thing because they see the gold in you and they're wanting it too.
Right.
But I feel like they're not really getting it still because it keeps coming up. Like, what are your suggestions for that?
I would ask a 5-year-old, they're copying me. Like, okay, does that bug you when they copy you? I'd ask questions. Yes, I don't like it. Why don't you like it? Because I want it to be mine. I don't want them to do the same as mine. Like, okay, so what is it that you need? I need them not to do that. Like, okay, well, did you want to try and communicate that with them? I would push them towards communicating what they need to the other kids. Because it'll be different when they communicate, I don't really like it when you copy me because I want my picture to be just like mine, and I don't want it to be the same as yours because I want it to be special. So if they're able to communicate that to their friends, it's a lot different than us saying, hey, she just really wants it to be special and she just doesn't want it. They're like, so what?
Yeah.
But coming from them, there's a different relationship. But I would ask lots of questions and get down to what is it that you need.
You're making me work.
Yep. Come on, Vanna. I'd like to buy a vowel. All right.
So I have a question. So we have a kid in our class who has no lop in his life at all. I've seen him getting yelled at by mom like crazy. So when he's in our class, he is a big boy as well. So it's like this past Sunday, I was like literally had my eyes on him like a hawk because I didn't want to push his buttons where he was set off to the point where he became really unsafe. But I also got to the point where I was like, I don't know if I can, I feel like I need to engage with him and go after what I believe in, but I didn't want to set him off, and so I talked with, team pastor and stuff, and we decided not to push his buttons. But in that case, what's a good way to not push his buttons and have him go crazy, but then still being able to build a connection and connecting, or taking steps towards moving on the no fun, fun, stuff like that.
I guess you just probably should pay attention to, I didn't go over any kind of the love languages, but how kids receive love is usually how they're going to show it, because that's just what they know, So I would be paying attention if he runs in, he gives lots of hugs, but then, it's only on his term. He could be a touchy kid, but you just got to read when he's ready for it, or if he's always, he's young, so he's going to still be developing this for sure because you're in the 2-year-old classroom. But I would just be watching how different things that make him light up, like if he loves cars, if he loves, snack for one thing is a good motivator for most of my kids. So I would use those things to help accomplish what it is that you need, which would be like, hey, buddy, I have this trick for you, but I need to talk to you. That's no fun, So you need to sit in the no fun chair. Feel free to have this car as soon as you're in the no fun chair. So that could be something that you use. If he's that severe of a case, I don't really know completely because I think that you're trying to get him in the no fun chair from what you're saying.
Yeah, and when you try to approach him and talk to him, he just bolts. And it's like, I'm not going to chase you.
Right.
So in those cases, it's like he's just going and you're like, okay,
So what happens when you do get to him?
Well, this was the first Sunday I actually worked with him, and this Sunday I actually got to the point where I could actually talk with him because I just had to do something at one point in time. So I tried to just hold him because he was not being fun. So immediately when I held him, he was laying,
Right.
and he's a big boy, so it wasn't the easiest feat ever, but I ended up getting him away from the other kids, and then I just let him go, and I was talking to him even though it looked like he wasn't paying attention to me.
Mm-hmm.
And then I was like, I need you to show me how that you can listen, because I knew fun and no fun was not his grade at all. And so he ended up getting up, and I thought he was going to bolt, but actually he went and sat down on a chair, which is what I really needed him to do. So I was able to do that. So I kind of went out on a limb and like went to do something that I thought would, that would set him off. So like in those cases, is it okay to kind of like play Russian roulette?
Well, I think that you can't be afraid of him, because that's not going to do any good for anybody in the room. So you're going to have to approach the starling beast, so to say. Like, you might be scared of it, but he's not used to having any form of boundaries. So if you think about how they break a horse, they've got to get it used to how you do things with the saddle on, versus this, there's one step after the next. So it's the same thing. You're going to have to get used to setting boundaries, or the boundaries he's used to is just screaming and yelling and probably spanking, and I'm just going to spank you until I get the result I want. So if this is your first time really working with him, I would encourage you to keep going with your boundaries, but in the same approach that you did. He might have to be pulled away and talk to you like that, and he's going to learn that in your presence we do things differently. But this is where they learn it. How do kids learn that they can get away with something with one babysitter but not the other? Because it's demonstrated in that home. How do kids learn that one teacher, it's all crazy town, the other teacher, you do not act out of line? It's because of the environment that's created. So the same thing with that is, you can't be intimidated by him, because especially if you're leading the classroom, you have to set the tone for what you're doing. And but if he's not used to it, just think of it as an untamed horse, that we're just taking it one step at a time, giving boundaries, and the little breakthroughs are what's going to make a big difference. And coach the rest of your team on like, okay, this is how we're going to approach this kid, because this is what he needs right now.
It was really good though, because after that, in that moment, I think was a come to Jesus moment with him. And
I would always be praying.
Yeah.
Going in.
Yeah, and then we had a moment afterwards where he wasn't being fun, but I was like, I can hold you, or you can go sit over there. And he was like, I want you to hold me. So I picked up this big boy and sat him on my lap, and I started playing this game with him, and actually got him to smile and laugh, which was huge.
Which again, the difference is the boy probably doesn't have much safety.
Yeah.
And his interaction to discipline or being in trouble is punishment, and yours is to find this common ground of what it is that you need. And I'm going to do that through staying connected to your heart. So he's probably not used to that at all.
Does anyone else have one? Yes.
I have this little boy in my life, and he thinks that a lot of things are fun that aren't fun, but he just does it anyways, like just playing, like throwing cars and things like that. And I tell him, that's no fun. But then when I actually get more serious to where, like, now you just hit me in the face with a car, like, he laughs until you get to that point. And then he immediately, like, screams and cries and just completely yells, almost to where I feel bad. I'm like, did I look at you wrong? Did I give you the evil eye? Like, what did I do to make you get to this point? But it's like, finally, when it goes from, oh, buddy, that's no fun, to like, no, when you just hurt me, then it's like there's no connection with him, and he's just gone crying. And what do you do in that situation?
He probably has learned that if I go into victim mode, I'll get away with it. Maybe not, but kids again are smart. So I would just say, hey, that's no fun. Do you want to play fun with the cars and keep them on the floor, or do you need me to put them away? Like, I would make it somewhat serious from the beginning, so that he doesn't think, oh, here's the line. What about here? What about here? Oh, whack. Oh, hey, that's no fun. I'm like, what just happened? So I would just say, hey, buddy, that's no fun. Will you put the cards on the floor or not at all? Do you want to be fun, or do I need to put them away? And especially if these kids are used to stepping over the line, and once you draw it in the sand, you're going to have to be okay to be like, oh, okay, no problem, and put him away. And he's going to freak out at you. But this is where they learn that consistency and whether or not I should actually believe you. Because kids are incredible at testing you. So you draw a line in the sand, they go, can't see it. Oh, the one behind me? So you got to be right there in front of the line and go, oh no, back up, buddy. And they're like, and you go, oh no, buddy, that's a line. So I have to be careful of my intimidation factor because I can walk in the room and I tend to just, here I am. And so I have to be aware of how my face looks, how my tone sounds, what my body language is doing. Other people don't have that. Like, you know, I go into Delaney's class and I laugh at these kids are just picking out the parents like, whose car do I want to ride in and what can I get away with in that car? You know, we go on field trips and these kids are like, are you going to be one that I can scream and yell and jump up and down, like, or do I actually have to follow the rules in this car? I mean, they just learn how to read you. So you got to make sure that that line that you draw, you're right in front of it going, yeah, that's really a line in the sand. And I'm right here. But you do it with a smile on your face and lots of love in your heart. That's the difference. So that's what I would do.
I work with the babies, and most of the time that's like the best thing ever. But then Sunday nights come and it's a long shift, and like they're grumpy and they're tired. And there's one in particular, and he's like aggressive when he's tired. Like he'll straight up just like hit you right in the face really hard. And I'm like, Grace almost leaves, but I'm like, you're a baby. Like this. I can't. Like,
What if I dropped you? I don't know what happened.
I'm so sorry. And like he's the only one, so it's not like I'm overwhelmed with like, oh, I'm sorry, you're done. I have lots of other babies I need to take care of, and you're obviously done. Like, so I feel bad if I like call the parents and I'm just like, hey,
He keeps smacking me in the
he,
face.
like, I can't handle him. I have no other children. Like, they're like, do you have any other babies? It's just like, no, I just can't handle
How old is
yours. He's
Somewhere like 9, 10
9,
months.
10 months, and he just like, he's not happy unless we're feeding him snack, and so we're trying to like, okay,
He's gonna be like the little brother.
yeah, we're kind of like, okay, let's like a Cheerio here, and then a toy, and then like,
You're making a trail of Cheerios.
yeah,
Watch this.
I'm gonna make you work for your snack, like, but so I'm like, you can't say, oh, like that's no fun. Like,
You
do you
can't?
want to go? Well, I mean, you can. Do you want to not hit me or go in the crib? Like, and what? But he just screams no matter what. So I like, what's a good option?
Well, with all of my kids, they've all varied in when I started fun or crib because they're all very different. Delaney was like 9 months. Like, you are in the crib because the girl was no fun a lot. Let's just say that. Adeline, not so much. Like, I didn't really even start it till she was probably after she was 1. I was like, are you ever going to do anything wrong? Ever? You know, it's still, I don't think she ever does anything wrong. It's just like, and then Lincoln now is like my Mr. He's so boy, which is just weird to say, but like, he's climbing on everything. He would smack me in the face, and it's not fun because you're like, whack. You're like, I didn't think that was gonna hurt so bad, but that totally did. And then you try and like, hey, that's no fun. Whack. You're like, that was awesome. So what I would do with Lincoln is he'd smack me in the face, and I would pull him away from me and hold him out like this, and I'd say, hey, buddy, that's no fun. Fun? Down. And I would put him down. I hold him again, and if he'd try or smack me in the face, I go, oh no, no fun. And I'd set him down on the ground. And he'd be like, I'm gonna skin him. And he was like, fun? Floor. Fun? I mean, and it takes consistency. And I'd pick him back up, and he'd go to hit me and go, no fun. I mean, and I had to do this more than once, obviously. And I'd have to adjust to, he's just going to keep doing it. And again, he's tired, he's cranky, he wants to keep So that's what I would do. And then I would rotate, you know? Give them to another team leader. Like, hey, this face is sore, so your turn. You know? But he's very much in the land of getting used to what this language is, whether or not his parents use it. And if it's too much, then I wouldn't hold him. I'd have him on the ground, facing away from you with toys and snack, if you can.
When does it get to the point where, okay, he's been screaming for past 10 minutes, and him, or whether he's on the ground like he's just screaming, or...
Well, if it was my kid, I wouldn't want him to scream for 10 minutes.
Right.
So I would think that's safe to say is probably the standard for most parents, unless every kid's different though. Maybe that's how their kid lives, is screaming. I mean, really, every kid is different. But I would have to talk to probably your team pastor of what is our max, you know, because I'm ready to tap out, you know, but it could be, yeah, the parents another, yeah. Which I think, you know, some parents are like 30 seconds. Like, okay, well, now, come back now. You would never have Jenny's kids, is what she's saying. Oh, no, I'll take them back. It's okay. My kids, I usually say, you know, if they're crying for 10 minutes and, like, you know, they're really upset, then yeah, call me. If they're fussy, however long you can handle it, that's kind of what I used to say. So, but yeah, I think we're done. And